Are you struggling trying to find your life purpose? Watch this video to see how you can discover your life's purpose in 5 minutes or less. How's it going, Reinventors? I'm Amelia, and I want to welcome you back to Reinventing You. Now, I retired after 20 years in the ministry and chose to reinvent myself, and part of my purpose in life is helping others to reinvent themselves. That means you, so that they can live lives of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. And, I was just thinking about, well, what if you go to a party or a networking event or a retirement, shindig, and somebody asks, well, what do you do? And that is my cats. My cats are being really bad today. But anyway, what if you go there, you're standing by the beverages, because, by the way, that's the best place in your party, would just get by the beverages. But anyway, you're standing there, somebody comes up to you, they introduce themselves, and they ask you, what do you do? Wouldn't it be great if you could tell them very succinctly in a very short sentence, or maybe even 1 or 2 words, what you do, what your purpose is, and have them to kind of be curious about it, ask you more, because it might, help you out in what you're doing. You might find a new client or somebody to help, or a way to expand what you're doing, or you learn something new that will help you out. Wouldn't that be great if you could do that? So I've been really looking for something like that, and I think I found it. I know I have searched for an easier method to discover your life's purpose, and I think I found one. This one is by Adam Leipzig. It's based on a TED Talk. Excuse me while I let my cat out. Okay, I know, oh, poor is me, but I had to close the door to my office because the boats and ski-doos on the water are so noisy, but then the cat wants out when she's in and when she's out. But anyway, or he wants that. Anyway, Adam Leipzig did a TED Talk video on discovering your purpose in 5 minutes or less, and that's what he claims. With 5 different components of this method, you can discover what your life's purpose is. And I have got a link in the description below if you want to check that out and watch it for yourself. However, if you just want to see, the top 5, I'm going to share those with you and help you to know how using Leipzig's way of discovering your life's purpose can help you in reinventing yourself. So here we go. Number 1. Who are you? And what he says is, what is your name? And basically, he's, of course, doing a TED Talk. He's asking the audience, give your name. So what he's saying is not what your title is, or your maybe your education level, or your nationality, but what your name is. That's the first thing to start with. The second part of learning what your purpose is in less than 5 minutes is, what do you do? In other words, what do you love to do? Not just what you find yourself doing on any given day, but what do you love to do? And this is probably the part of it that takes the longest to really discover. You may have to brainstorm. You may have to write certain things down and really focus in on one and not think of 6 different things that you could possibly put. Okay, to help you narrow it down, you ask yourself these questions. If I were going to teach something, what is one thing I could teach and do it well? And you may say, oh, well, I'm not a teacher, but show by example, do a YouTube video, do a short pamphlet on how to do something, and it's got to be something that you love too. In other words, when I start thinking about, well, there's lots of things I could teach that have to do with my profession of being a pastor, like how to pray, or maybe even that wouldn't focus necessarily on being a pastor, but how to speak in front of a group. I could teach those things to people. I feel like I'm competent in both of those areas, and I know a lot. However, neither one of those are things that I love to do. I mean, I don't mind speaking in front of people, but it's not something I love to do. So you have to figure out, what do you do? What do you love to do? What could you teach others to do? The next question is really important. Who do you do this for? You take whatever you love to do, what you're really good at doing, what what you do, and you say, well, who do I do this thing for? Is it the homeless? Is it retirees? Is it people just graduating college? Is it middle school students? You have got, I don't know why I'm like thinking of life stages, but I mean, it could be people, refugees. It could be somebody who is, first generation, going to school or living in America or Canada, learning Spanish, all those things. People who learn Spanish, that's who I'm helping. Who do you do what you love to do? Who do you do it for? The fourth thing is to ask yourself, what do these people need or want? Now, maybe this is not a question to ask yourself, but maybe you need to find out. What do these people need or want? And this also may be more difficult questions. You may say, I don't know if I can answer this in 5 minutes or less, but you might know off the top of the head, what do these people really want or need? The homeless, you might say, well, they need a home, but maybe that's not it. Maybe they just need adequate shower facilities. Maybe they need a place where they can go when it is too hot or too cold. Maybe they need library or computer access. If you say, well, I work with retirees, well, what do they need? Well, maybe they need, help with figuring out how to navigate Medicare. Or what do they want? Are they wanting somebody to figure out what to do with the rest of their life, or end of life planning, or how to, relate to their grandchildren or great grandchildren? What I'm saying is you have to think, okay, what do these people really want or need? What that I'm doing, what are they wanting? Where, so you can think, okay, I'm doing this to this group of people, and what they really want or need is this. It really does fit together. It's almost like Ikigai, but I won't say that because then you'll get all scared and not do this. The fifth thing that is really important to know, and you might think, oh, I don't know if I really need to answer this question, but really it is very important. What did they get out of it? What is something that they are going to benefit from, those other people, from what you are giving them or doing? In other words, how have they changed as a result of what you have done? The most interesting thing that I think about this, finding your life purpose in this way, is that only 2 of these things are about yourself. And what Leipzig says in his video, and the story he gives of why he discovered how to discover your life's purpose, was that he was in a reunion group of graduates from Yale, and basically only 20% of these people there were successful and happy with what they were doing. And so I guess when he started asking questions to them, when he started asking them questions about, how come, what do they do, how come they're successful and happy, these are the kinds of things that they told him. And what he realized is these people were all outward facing. They were doing things for other people. They were helping the world in some way. So his interpretation says the most important part of finding your life's purpose is that outward facing part. How are you helping others? What do they need, and how are you fulfilling the need that they have? Imagine yourself at that same party that I was talking about earlier, the little cocktail party, the business kind of meet and greet, and you are, again, standing by the beverages, and somebody comes up and introduces themselves and says, well, what do you do? And what you're going to do is you're going to answer them the very last question, what you are doing to change others. Here's some examples. I help people overcome credit card misuse. I increase players' odds of winning at poker. I help recent retirees navigate secondary insurance. I provide assistance to older adults who are food insecure. I make homes safer for those with disabilities. I help folks enjoy life after 50. Now the other person is probably going to want to know, well, how do you do that? Well, then you explain what you do and the needs that people are having that you meet in doing what you do. Now, it does sound extremely simplified. You're probably thinking, that's just too simple, Amelia. Or wait, does that really apply to me? I mean, I'm retired, so what do they really do? Well, that's a good question. If you are retired and you're struggling to figure out what your life purpose is, because you do have a life purpose, even if you're not working a, quote, regular job, or if you're over 50 and you have changed a lot in your life, this is something you have to until you're on your deathbed, basically. You have to figure out, what is my life purpose? And I guess that's kind of morbid to think. But when you think about it, yeah, we have a purpose in life all the way to the end. And why not figure that out and live it so that we can be happy and successful and joyful and fulfilled? Now, I think part of reinventing you is helping to encourage you to discover your life purpose so that you can reinvent yourself. A lot of times, once you discover your life purpose, you will realize, I'm not living that out. This is, 5 minutes, I've discovered my life purpose, and looking at my life, I'm not living it out. I'm not living my purpose. I'm miserable. So now the next step for you to set is, how can I reinvent myself to match up with my life purpose? So what is your life purpose? In the comments below, please write down, answer those 5 questions. Let me know. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your life purpose is. And in the next video, I want to explore how your life purpose and reinventing yourself meet up. How can you make those gel together? I'm Amelia. This is Reinventing You. Have a great one.